More figures have been trickling in regarding the deadly coronavirus and its spread across the world. In the latest, Belgium has confirmed its first case. Belgium had evacuated a total of 9 people from Wuhan in China, which, remember, is the epicenter of that virus outbreak. All of the 9 evacuees were tested for the virus upon their return. And among them, 1 person has now tested positive for the deadly disease. Let's get in further details now from our correspondent Lucy Hoof, who's joining us live from Brussels. Lucy, if you can begin by sharing with us the latest that you've been able to gather from the authorities and what the status is like as far as the quarantine of the other 8 evacuees is concerned.
Yes, as you were saying there, this case was one of the 9 Belgian citizens that were repatriated from mainland China over the weekend. One of them, as you say, has now tested positive for coronavirus. The health minister here in Belgium has been talking in the last few minutes. She says there's no reason to panic. This diagnosis was made after 2 positive tests, but Belgium has long been expecting its first case, so it has made extensive arrangements to contain the virus. We understand that this case was transferred from a military hospital where those cases had been put into quarantine and is now being treated at the Saint-Pierre hospital in the south of Brussels, which was the designated centre for coronavirus cases to be treated. We understand that the patient is in good health, that the patient isn't showing signs of coronavirus. So obviously that is good news there. But this, as you say, is the first case in Brussels.
Right, in terms of the measures, if any, Lucy, that the government is considering at this point?
Well, clearly there are extensive quarantine measures put in the Saint-Pierre hospital, which, as I say, is one of several sites that were designated to treat these cases of coronavirus. Maggie de Block, the Belgian health minister, has been talking, saying that Belgium has been making extensive preparations to prepare for this moment. But of course, we've got increasing numbers of cases in Europe, 12 cases reported in Germany, 6 cases reported in France, and 2 in the UK and in Russia as well. So the numbers are creeping up, as of course we have those increasing numbers of fatalities in Asia. Clearly Europe has been on high alert for this. Belgium hasn't had a case until now, but this was announced just a couple of hours ago here in Belgium. 1 case. We don't have the details of the personal details of this case. Some reports on social media that it's a female patient, but as I say, being treated in the Saint-Pierre hospital in the south of Belgium, is in the south of Brussels. Information to come as to the status of that patient, but as at the moment it is being reported that the patient is in good health, not showing signs of the virus at the moment.
All right, and before we let you go, Lucy, the very fact that the virus has spread beyond China has been also at the center of a lot of mudslinging, if I may, in terms of the allegations and counter-allegations, for example, between China and the US. As far as the statements coming in from the EU are concerned, they've taken a very balanced approach and at the same time saying there is no reason for panic and at the same time no reason to put in measures that are not required.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the key announcement in the last couple of days from the European Union has been the announcement of 10 million euros in funding from the European Commission to fund 4 different research projects related to coronavirus, how it spreads and what exactly it is. So clearly the EU is willing to make investments in this. It's also using the Civil Protection Aviation Fund, which is to help in the assistance of bringing any people back to the EU. We have, of course, had 350 people flown over the weekend from Wuhan in mainland China back to Europe and then placed into quarantine. 9 of them were Belgian citizens, and as we, of course, know, one of them now has tested positive for coronavirus. The other 8 remain in quarantine in a military hospital, but this patient who's tested positive has been transferred. But yes, the EU has been taking a more, it hasn't been mudslinging, it hasn't been involved in the sort of political discussion around the virus, as you say, as the US has, but clearly it has made an investment. It's willing to spend some money to find out how to prevent the spread of the virus. Of course, the World Health Organization, based in Geneva, has called this an international emergency.
Absolutely. We're going to leave it there for the moment. Lucy, thanks very much for all of those updates. Now, the city of Wuhan, which is the epicenter of that virus outbreak, is under complete lockdown. The government's response has been opaque at times, with information very hard to trickle in from there. But what you're about to see next is a first-hand account from inside Wuhan, a tour of the streets by a Russian expat who actually missed his first chance of being evacuated.
Wuhan, around 5 p.m. Sunday. On the street you can see only fake people. Fake people here. Fake people there. Hello, my name is Vladimir Markov. I am originally from Russia, then I moved to the Netherlands, and I am working in Wuhan. I'm currently located in Wuhan. When I heard first time that the city was locked down, it was a big disappointment because I planned my vacation during Chinese New Year in Vietnam, so I was supposed to be on the beach, nice weather, and suddenly you lock down in your apartment, you're afraid to go out. Of course, there is a lot of panic everywhere. So the numbers of confirmed cases are still quite scary, and it's rising every day quite a lot. That's why I decided still to be evacuated to Russia. I missed my chance to be evacuated by the Dutch embassy. It was 2 days ago. I have second chance to be evacuated by Russian embassy, and currently today they were making a list of people will be evacuated, because as you can see it's quite rest if you go now. I think it's quite safe to go outside now if you don't interact with people and don't touch doors and objects. As you can see, people are still on the street. You can buy some fruits, vegetables, food. Currently grocery shops are already closed.